And now podcasting from the great state of Alaska, this is the Upper One Podcast with your hosts, Scott, Eric, and Tim.
Welcome back. Been an awesome summer. Tim and Eric are here with me. We got a few things that we're going to catch up on. What do you want to get started with?
I gotta say that last week's live look-in, I felt
Is that
like
what you're calling it?
or whatever live feed, whatever you want to call it. I felt like a deer in the headlights. I felt like I had stage fright.
So yeah, we did a trial run. I got the camera and I got everything hooked up, and we put it on Facebook, and we did a trial run to see what it was like. And one of the things that I forgot to do, or where I forgot what's happening, was every time we talk, even though they could hear it in the camera, every time we talked, there was a delay, going through Facebook or whatever. So by the time they heard it, we're sitting here waiting for them to respond back, and it wasn't happening right away. But yeah, I noticed that with you. My point of, every time I turn around to look at the camera, I was trying to make it seem like I was still trying to be personal with everybody that was watching. So I did feel a little bit too, because I'm camera shy myself.
I don't remember, but did you give everybody the email while we were live like that, so they can send in questions?
I don't remember if we did that or
comments.
Not. Our Facebook page does have our email address, but we can keep that going.
Always welcome questions, ideas, things you want to know about, we can check into.
I didn't bring my wedge so that I could get a word in.
Oh. Eric might have one out in the shed.
I've tried to add something like 3 times, and
is that why you were looking at me like a deer in the headlights, like Eric's?
All right, maybe we need to go to back to school days. Raise your hand when you got something to say.
Yes, you should raise your hand.
Speaking of that, just
it sounds like you need to raise your hand because you said you forgot your wedge.
I think we already talked about it previously on an episode, but just to go off topic a little, with the kids doing the Zoom with their classes, the teachers have that. You push a little button, and the kid that wants to talk, they put their hands up, and then the teacher will unmute them and let them talk. Anyways, getting back to that, let's let Tim have his wedge of cheese time.
What do you have to say, Tim?
All I wanted to say was I think that the live broadcast went over pretty well, and that in the future, Scott will let people know when we're going to go live again, and we do welcome any live input and questions.
Yep.
If you have something that you'd like us to discuss, that would be great.
Yeah, that's one of the things what we were going to say, and I put a post up on the Upper One Podcast Facebook page today. While we're doing this every other week for the podcast, the recording, we were going to try to go live because we'll be in the studio doing the live episode, and then we'll record our podcast. So we'll go live on one Friday, and then we'll have the episode the next Friday, and then we'll alternate. So but we'll put at the end of each podcast, we'll remind everybody, but we'll put a reminder up on the Facebook page, and I know one of us only checks their Facebook in the morning. The other one's on probably maybe a quarter of the time as much as I am, but you could also when you see it, post it and share it on your page. So the friends that you have on your friends page that I don't have, that we're not mutual friends with, they will see it too and be able to.
Yeah, let's spread this out there. Let's try and
Speaking
have
of,
some fun, and maybe with some more input, we can make this a little more
I need to add
some
Tim.
people.
I need to add Tim onto, not as an administrator, but you'll be able to add content to the Facebook page, and that way, it'll come up and it'll show you that I've posted something, or if you guys post something, it'll show me, and then we could share it. But anyways, yeah, the live feed, like I said, it was a trial run. And there was a bit of a delay, so it was kind of hard to focus on talking into the camera and interacting with, the 5 listeners or watchers that we had, and try to record our podcast at the same time. So that's where that's going to be out of the question. We'll do a live video and then a separate recording for the podcast. So But other than that,
like I
Tim,
said, I just got to get used to being on camera.
well,
The one thing
don't.
that
I'm not going to sit up here and talk to you guys on the camera and assume that imagine everybody in their underwear. I'm not going to do that. Because
I should hope not. But I do want to say that either we need to change the camera angle or I need to lose weight.
you're not half of what this is, Tim. And yes, I need to lose weight too.
I think that if the camera was
I don't know.
pointing
The only
straighter
way we
at
can
me,
change the weight factor is if we point the camera at the ceiling.
Or I could find some way to attach a walleye vision or a wide angle so we all look the same.
well, the camera adds 10 pounds, so Eric looks like he weighs 130.
All right, hey.
All right. Well, moving on. Eric had I can't even think now.
Eric had something that he wanted to talk about because
or bitch about. I don't know if he's going to talk about it or bitch about it.
probably more of a bitch.
Well, it was just a project that I had to take care of last night. I had a headlight out on the front of my 2012 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD. So I figured I'd pick up some new headlights, and it should be a quick change.
Okay,
Just
so-
a turn knob and that.
Right offhand, what kind of bulbs were they?
I got the extra bright ones.
Well, what
Or brand
Were
and
they
everything
nine-
else. I mean, you're
Hey,
naming
were they
them.
9006s, 9007s? Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
All right. You want to get technical?
Well,
No, I
they-
have no idea. All I know is you want to get technical. I had to pull the whole damn grill off the front of my truck
That's nothing new to me.
in order to slide the lights over enough to get my hand down in there to turn the thing out. And
That's-
I thought, you've got to be kidding me.
Well,
This is ridiculous.
that's nothing new to me because I have a 2015 2500 HD Silverado Grizzly Edition that has the same problem.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, a problem.
It is. It's bad.
It's a big problem.
You have to
when
pull
it
the
takes
grill
you
off.
an hour to change your headlights, something's wrong.
Yeah, you got to pull the grill completely off, but they have quick release tabs. There's like 8 of them.
They ain't as quick as
No. And then you have to take 3 or 4 bolts out of the headlight assembly just to pull it out. And then on mine, I have HIDs, so I have the ballasts, and I have like 8 different wires that I have to plug in and out.
What is HID?
I don't know. It's like high intensity something. I don't know. Look it up. Look it up and fact check me. I don't know.
What number is that?
Mine's are H7s.
Hey, you know what? That's the same number as mine is H7.
Yeah,
Now that
there
you
you
said
go.
it, now when I was at Napa, I remember he said something about H7.
Yep.
Okay, so my bitch is I had a 2004 pickup. I'm not going to name all the specifics about it
Because you're
but
not getting paid.
You'll
That's
get
right.
questioned.
I'm not getting paid. But the gas gauge quit working.
I think I
And-
remember the alternator quit working on that one time too.
It did. Thank you. But the gas gauge quit working, and I took it into the dealer, and they said, "Yeah, we can take care of that for you. It'll be like $600." I'm like, "What?" Well, we got to drop the gas tank. And
Oh, my
everything,
God.
Because the fuel filter and the fuel pump and the gas gauge pickup is
Are all down in the
all
tank.
in the tank, and it's only accessed from the top. So you have to either remove the bed of the truck to get to it, or you have to drop the gas tank. So I knew what kind of mileage I got, and I used my trip odometer to gauge how far I could go before I needed gas for probably 10 years.
Wow.
You know what's funny is I had a truck that once at the gas gauge.
I'm not done with my story.
All right, well, go ahead.
There you
Tim.
go. I don't
Go
have
ahead,
a wedge.
Go ahead, Tim.
There's the wedge right there.
Go ahead,
Anyhow,
Tim.
I'm thinking to myself, these damn engineers, why don't they put an access panel in somewhere that you can just like take out 4 or 6 bolts or something like that, open it up, you can reach into the top of the gas tank and pull the thing out and change everything. No, they got to make it really hard for the average person to actually work on their own vehicle.
Yeah, you'd think there was a bed, so they should be able to put an access panel in
Yeah,
there.
it's not like the beds are waterproof or anything like that. It can hold water. They got holes all over them. So what's one more panel that you can take off? And just imagine if you had like a Suburban or something like that, right? How much easier would it be just to pull the carpet back and unscrew a couple of things and reach down there and
Trap door.
and fix it?
Trap door.
Yep.
Yep.
How much easier would it be on the mechanics at the dealers to do that or anywhere?
Well, then they can't charge you $3,000
Exactly.
to fix something.
Exactly.
That's why, speaking of that,
Like the light bulbs.
and maybe even a TV. There's an update on somebody's TV upstairs that Eric had brought up. Well, maybe they're making it outdated, so you just have to go buy a new TV. You can't just update the software.
Yeah.
It's all about monetary value anymore today.
Exactly.
Everything's
But what I was
disposable
saying, and
by
what's
now.
funny is you talk about you drove around for 10 years without a gas gauge working. I drove around for a long time, not 10 years, but a long time, with a gas gauge that didn't work. When I got the truck, it never worked. And I never ran out of gas in it. It was when I got my brand new Chevy S10 pickup truck. I'm heading off of Hilton Head Island, heading to work, and I ran out of gas. Gas gauge worked real good.
E doesn't mean extra, I guess.
Yeah,
huh?
I guess E doesn't mean extra, exactly. I just couldn't believe it. I didn't pay attention, and
Or enough.
Or maybe he was looking at the wrong gauge. Oh yeah, there's
a battery thing. Oh yeah, that looks good.
12 volts or 12 gallons. I got 12 gallons left. Well, what else is new? There's a grand jury foreman in our midst.
Oh, I'm not the foreman. I'm the assistant foreman. So this guy better not miss out. He better show up everything. But yeah, I got that again. July 21st.
Eric's
and
doing his
22nd.
civil duty.
Yeah, I tell you what, they don't pay enough. I couldn't. I just.
Show me the money.
Oh, as you hear in the peanut gallery, somebody that hasn't been on the show in a while, my wife Rhonda is sitting in the room.
Did you
And-
get paid?
She's on the timeout chair, it looks like.
Yeah, she's in the timeout chair. She's about to be in the timeout chair.
Did you get paid?
No, I don't think I have yet.
You know, honestly, I think that all companies, because if you get a jury summons, even just a regular jury summons, if you don't respond to it or show up, you can be held in contempt. I think it
or
actually
put in jail.
issue a warrant and put you in jail. And so they should probably make that a law or something like that, that if you are called for jury duty and you're doing your civic duty, then the company should have to pay you for those days. My company does. If you get called for jury duty, then they pay us for the days that.
I'm gonna have Joe Jolly call your company.
Which is probably like a payroll write off or something. You know, that's
It could be. I don't know, but I think that anybody that says, "Well, if you don't come to work because you had jury duty, we're not going
well
to pay you."
in the last I think in the last 20 years I've been called twice. The first time I got called, the case was somebody that was insured by State Farm, and the first questionnaire.
Are you supposed to be talking about it?
No, I just this is how I got. I don't know what the case was going, but it was somebody was insured by State Farm, and that question was, "Are you insured by State Farm?" Yep, I was automatically disqualified. Then the next one, I think it was a theft or something. I don't know, but they were asking opinions on what you think, and I said, well, I used to work loss prevention at a a certain retail store, and this was my job to make citizens arrest or whatever you call it, and get these people arrested for theft.
Did they call you Barney Fife?
No,
Just checking.
but so I was disqualified there too. They didn't want me. Neither side wanted me. So but unfortunately for you, grand juries are a little different than those kind of.
Yeah, I need to figure out a better answer, because they called me and I
Hang 'em all.
I was telling you guys that I was going to say guilty. Oh, wait, here. But no, I just said present. And next thing I know, the judge is calling me back to her chambers.
By yourself?
Yeah. After she gave the whole jury field.
It's the gray hair. Makes
Hey.
him look more distinguished.
Hey, call that the silver fox, baby. But no, after she gave the whole jury the spiel, they said that they were going to be calling a few people back and trying to figure out who's going to be the foreman of the jury. And of course, I'm the first person they call, and I'm the first person that's wanting to get out of this. And so she calls me back. She asks me some questions. Yeah, I could be fair, yeah, blah, blah, whatever. All right, go back out. She calls in like 5 or 6 other people. Next thing I know,
You're
they're
back
all
in the
done.
principal's office.
Yeah, and and last time I get called to the judge, I'm like, oh, geez, this didn't turn out good the last time. So, but anyway, so they come back after calling back 5 or 6 people, and they call, of course, for this other cat and myself. And I'm like, oh, let's go back there. And luckily they made the other guy the main
Jury
juror or the foreman, and I got the assistant foreman. So if he's not able to be at one of these sessions, I got to step in and do his job. And it's like, oh, great. I'm the
Like
one
the
that was trying to get
runner-up
out of it.
America.
I was
Second
trying,
place is the first loser.
I was trying to get out of it, and no. Not only did I not get out of it, I got nominated to be the second foreman.
So, sometimes when you answer questions honestly, it doesn't help.
It gets you in trouble.
Scott, fortunately, was able to get out of it because of the
Well, I
answers
didn't
that
think
he
I was
gave.
going to be impartial in a
Right.
jury, but
So, my jury story is, and it happened many years ago. We lived in Florida, and we lived in one county, and my wife worked in the next county over. And as it happened, she worked for the district attorney in that county. And I get called for jury duty. And so I'm sitting there, and they're interviewing all the jurors to see who they want to pick for the jury pool. And they say, does anybody know anybody in law enforcement? Well, the state attorney and district attorney is law enforcement. So I raised my hand, and they asked me questions, and I was like, who do you know? And I said, well, my wife works for the district attorney in the next county, and her uncle is the chief assistant to the district attorney, and she works for so-and-so, and then I know that this person and this person, and all the lawyers turn around and they're looking at me, and the judge is like, you know so-and-so? That's your wife's uncle? And I'm like, yeah. So the judge says, do you think you can be fair and impartial? And I said, well, I can listen to the evidence. The defense attorneys and the district
Prosecuting.
attorneys, neither one of them had an objection, and I get picked for the jury.
Oh,
The guy was guilty. I figured, sure as shit, I'd get exempt from that. Nope.
a few nights ago, the Dump and Change podcast boys
I heard
recorded
you got to,
recorded from the brewery, and they call them FOPs, friends of the podcast. This is what the hockey boys out in Eagle River call them. they let the friends of the podcast come in, and if you were there, well, they wanted to sell their T-shirts, so they said, buy our T-shirt and we'll get you on the podcast. Well,
You got sucker ridden all over your
Did they have one that fit you?
no,
And that pissed you off, right?
I did not. Well, I'm not pissed off about it, but I told them I would buy a T-shirt if they had the right size. So, anyways, they split the recordings into two different podcasts. So the first half of the podcast came out this last Wednesday. There was a couple guys on there, and you really got to listen because one of the stories was really good, typical Alaskan. But turns out if I make the cut, they called us out. They're trying to help support the Upper One podcast. But
Nice.
if I make the cut, it'll probably be uploaded next Wednesday. But like I said, have you seen the movie Slapshot?
Oh, I think we've all seen that movie.
Okay, so you remember the part where the Hanson brothers were sitting down their first game and they were putting the foil on their knuckles before they stuck them in their hockey gloves.
Vaguely, but
okay,
yes,
so
it's been a while
to
since
make
I've
that
seen the movie.
to make that long story short, I took the boys a box of aluminum foil, and before they could introduce me, I kind of took over. I said, wait a minute, I brought something for you guys, and I wanted to make sure to give it to you in case you need it on me before while you're introducing me, putting the foil on while you're introducing Scott. So I kind of felt like I took over a little bit on their podcast, but overall, with hockey players, when they chirp and they talk trash back and forth, it's called chirping. They chirped on me a little bit. I chirped back at them. I had a good time. They gave us a shout out from the Dump and Change.
Nice.
And, hopefully we'll grab some listeners from there, and we'll send a few listeners from our podcast to them, because anything that has to do with Alaska hockey, not necessarily hockey in general, but trying to focus on, all the way from what they call mites, the little bitty ones, all the way up to bantams and all that into high school. They've had guys that have gone into the NHL.
I tell you, I really miss hockey up here. Since my son has graduated high school and moved on to the Navy, I really miss getting out and watching hockey. I loved it. It really is a bummer that the Aces are gone.
Well, that's going to be talk for a long time until we get a team back. But
we need this town needs a team back. The Sullivan
honestly,
Arena needs a team back.
There's something really lacking during the winter
yes,
here that people can get out, that average people can get out and do.
I know
sports and
what Reed and Walt and Kenny and Steve, what they talked about, because they had a couple of boys that played for the Kenai River Brown Bears. They're the junior hockey. Mm. They had, had a couple of them on, and they were talking about how there's talks, because right now it's just Kenai and Fairbanks. There's talk about having two more teams, maybe an Anchorage and a Wasilla team, or an Anchorage and an Eagle River team, which junior hockey is just as good. Them talking about younger,
it's hockey.
Oh, it is hockey.
I love hockey. I mean, I got to get back out to just to go to the high school hockey.
yeah.
I would love to get back out and go start watching hockey again. I love it.
Yes,
Live
it's
is
always a lot of fun.
Unbeatable.
And other than that, like I said, we got a few shout outs, and hopefully some of our listeners, like I said, will go over and listen to them boys. They're a couple goons, four goons.
Oh, you calling them goons?
Oh,
huh?
yeah, that's what you chirp.
A goon calling a goon.
Okay, so the question I have is, how big was the biggest guy?
On the podcast or in the interview?
You said
Who you're calling a
they're
goon?
goons.
I think the big Ginge is 6'3", and a matter of fact,
You got a
nowhere
couple
near
inches on him,
close.
so
yeah, when we were talking when we first started my little interview, like I said, I don't know if it's going to make the cut. I kind of had some fun with it,
Let me tell you this.
but
Don't try to set up no hockey game between our podcast and their podcast, because Tim doesn't skate.
no, I won't do that.
I think I could skate if I had to.
I won't do that. I won't do that because
We might have to medically carry him off the floor.
Not that I would, but if I had to, I probably
Well,
could do it.
I promise I won't ever do that because I don't know if any one of the three of us would ever touch the puck. Reed played high school hockey for the Bartlett Bears. I think-
Nice. Hey,
And,
hey, Reed, love you,
But
brother.
he also
Bears.
still plays hockey. He plays in the AAA league for the Eagle River Hockey League.
Wow.
Walt is the assistant coach for Chugiak for the Chugiak
Yeah.
Mustangs. Yep. Big Ginge. Kenny played hockey. I think he played for Eagle River when he was in school. He's also a referee. And then there's Steve Glines. We all know who Steve Glines is. He was our favorite lineman for our beloved Alaska Aces. But but all four of them guys, they probably
Love
would
them
skate
all.
circles
Hey,
around us
you know.
with their left toe.
Yep, they would. They would.
But a big shout out to those boys. They really, I had fun. It was a lot of, I just wish you guys could have been there and listened. They, like I said, they chirped on me and I chirped on them back.
Well, you should have given us a heads up that was going
And,
to happen.
well,
and who knows?
like-
Maybe we could have shown up and we could have talked with them too. But I tell you what,
Something else I love is fishing.
is what?
Fishing.
Couldn't quite hear you. Couldn't
Fishing.
quite hear you.
Fishing.
Are you saying fishing?
I'm saying fishing.
Are you saying fishing?
I'm saying fishing.
He's not
that-
talking about nuclear.
Is that
He's talking
fishing?
about a
And-
rod and
and-
reel.
And hey, and I'm not talking about buying somebody else's rod and reel and keeping them in your garage and only getting the line wet when you take it outside when it's raining.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
he-
an asshole.
I think he puts
Oh,
them out
did I
there and he
say
says,
that?
I got my line wet because he leaned it against his truck when he was washing it.
No, he got his line wet the other night because my wife asked him how it felt to bring it out if he wanted to get the line wet to bring it outside in the rain. Anyhow, 4th of July, we had plans to go fishing with the boat because I got the motor running finally. But the wind got blown out of my sails as we were going up the loop. We lost a bearing buddy off the wheel, and I didn't want to have to drag it down there and dump it without that cap into the water.
Yeah, good
Tim,
idea.
Tim, what is it that word that you always say?
What does boat
What
stand
is-
for?
What is that word that you always say when stuff like that happens?
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
You're not trying to say
Maintenance?
karma, are you?
Maintenance? Something
Well,
like that?
If things
Something like
fall
that.
off when you're driving down the road, it happens. S happens.
But here's
Oh, I
here's
see. You can only team up with Scott to dog me, but we can't team up to dog Scott.
I actually have
Oh,
I have a little bit
okay.
of a story that relates
Well,
to what Scott is dealing with.
Okay, I
'cause
see. I see.
what I
All
don't
right.
understand about it is the first and foremost is that is the axle that I just replaced. The spindles got cut off the old ones. They got rewelded onto this new axle. I put new hubs and and everything on there. So they were brand new bearing buddies. Why would they come off? I just that's what just pissed me off. So I blew the wind out of my sails. We turned around, went home, unhooked the
faulty
boat.
workmanship.
No, I know they were on tight because when I tried to take them off to unscrew,
You didn't do it.
No, I did.
You did it yourself?
I did it
Oh,
all
well,
myself.
therein lies the problem.
No,
Well-
but tell me this. If you're not using lube and you stick something in dry, it should be tight, right?
Well, it doesn't go. It doesn't go all the way
Okay,
in.
so
No,
It
that's your
doesn't go
problem.
all
That's
the
not
way
my-
in, but
all right.
but
But
we
if
can
you get- if you get the
Tim,
tight
we can give
seal,
him a recipe,
you
but
get-
if he doesn't have
To get
the
back to the
ingredients-
subject at hand.
If you get the tight seal and it's hard to get off, it shouldn't just pop itself off.
My friend that I used to fish with him all the time. He's recently moved out of state and sold his boat and everything else. So, but we were going fishing, and he had those bearing buddies on his trailer, and we're going down the road, and just past Girdwood, before you get to Portage, all of a sudden, he feels like something's not right.
Like a tire out of balance,
Like,
probably.
and
huh?
he maintained his trailer and the boat and everything really well. And something happened, and he fortunately, there was a pull-off. And pulled off in there, and the hub on one of the wheels on the trailer, just the bearings went out. And so we stopped, and we got the truck jack out, and we jacked up the trailer and pulled the thing off, and the whole hub was just toast.
Burnt up, yeah.
And
Probably
so we
hot
pulled
to the touch
everything
even.
off and left the boat with one tire on the trailer there and drove back into town.
And you came back to nothing? The windows weren't busted out or anything?
It didn't have windows.
Oh, well,
It
good
was-
thing.
it was
'cause
an
they'd have
open
probably been
fisherman.
busted out.
Honestly, when I first started going fishing with him, it didn't matter what the weather was. It was always full rain gear because it's an open boat, and you're going out on the water that is 36 degrees. You never know what you're going to run into. It can be a great sunny day. You can always take stuff off, but you can never put it on if you don't have it. But we went into town, went to Six Rob Lee's, and got like a whole new hub, and then drove back down there, and in that parking lot, changed the hub on that trailer and put the tire back on, and then we didn't go fishing.
So you turned
it-
around and came home.
we came back home, but there was no way he couldn't even turn around and bring it home because the damn thing would have fallen right off. But it just happens. It's something that happens. You never know. You can take care of everything the best it can be, and all of a sudden something falls off, and you never know what's going to happen.
Well, what made my story worse was, because I always pack my tool bag and then my mechanic's tool set with me. Inside my tool bag was just a regular plain old dust cover. I could have just popped that on and we could have went. But nope, I didn't even think to look in there. We went home and unhooked, and then Shannon and I, we walked up the hill trying to, because she said, oh, I know where it fell. I saw it bouncing down the road. I know where it fell off. It was 8 a.m. There was still dew all over the grass. You know, there's grass knee high to me, and I'm walking through, my pants and my shoes are wet, and
Let me ask, was the wheel still rolling?
yeah.
That's
Yeah, but-
Alaskan, man. That's an Alaskan trailer.
But he didn't want to roll it into the
But
water.
I wasn't
and,
gonna
you know,
dump
salt water.
the open.
Well, all you gotta do is just wash it off. Give it a good washing after you drop in.
That reminds me of a story. I gotta
I'd
share
have
with
been
you
gone
guys.
fishing.
Yeah, he would have. Shannon said she saw something fall off, and she knew right where it was. Right, so many years ago, my friend had he had a 1970 Chevy Impala that was a lowrider. It didn't have like hydraulics and everything like the lowriders have now, and he decides, I'm gonna put headers on it. So I'm like, okay, I'll help you with it. And we go over to another guy's house, and we like take off the exhaust manifolds and cut the exhaust pipes. It already had straight pipes, and he wanted headers. We put the headers on there, and we couldn't connect the exhaust to it because we didn't have the collectors that attach to the exhaust pipe that go to the header. So we just left the exhaust like hanging there, and he drove it home with open headers.
Oh,
And they
That's like not having a muffler on your
they,
car,
that-
right?
they
had to
dump-
sound like
so
NASCAR
they
rolling
dump
down the
like
road.
right under his feet. He says my feet were numb by the time I get home. So he didn't drive his car to work for a couple of days. And I said, okay, on our next day off, because we had the same day off, I said, I'll come down there and I'll follow you to the muffler shop. There was a muffler shop that did like custom exhaust and stuff like that, but it was like 2 towns north of where he lived. So I go down there, like, just in case you get stopped, I can say, we're going to the muffler shop. As we're driving down the road and I'm following him, and I see something fall out from underneath this car. So I stop, and I'm out and I'm looking all over for it, and I'm like, he kept driving. He didn't even know. He didn't even see me stop. He had it was a chrome cap, because if, old cars, they had like oil breather. And it was a chrome oil breather cap. Well, it fell off and it landed upside down, so it wasn't the shiny side sticking up. It was the brown side, and it landed right in a clump of weeds, and I couldn't find it. And it took me like 15 minutes or something to find the thing. And finally, I reached down and I finally just stumbled on it and found it. Pick it up, get in my car, and I'm like, he drove past the county sheriff's office and the headquarters to like one of the local police departments, and driving down like this main road all the way to this muffler shop with these open headers. It was so damn loud you couldn't hear yourself if you were sitting in it.
Jeez.
But
Well,
it fell off, and I stopped to find the thing.
Well, first part when we drove, I pulled over onto the side of the road and drove on the side.
Right.
What is it called? The shoulder.
The median,
The shoulder.
shoulder.
Median's in the middle.
Median's the middle hump. That
Shoulder.
You're right.
Unless you're
The
from
shoulder.
Alaska, and then it's a meridian.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
where-
I slowly drove up, and she was looking, and
It's a
she
median.
was watching out the window, and she sees something, and she goes out, comes back, and it's like a hitch cover cap or something. I don't. It was off a Volvo, but I'm sure it was a piece of equipment. But so then we turn around and come back, and I said, "Why don't you just drive? You just drive up the hill. I'll start walking." We still didn't ever find it, so that sucker must have bounced down the hill.
Probably down in a ditch somewhere, buried.
But she's got another Saturday off coming up soon, and
You're heading fishing.
we are going to head fishing, because I went back and I got me some new bearing buddies, and it took me a mallet and a little short scrub piece of 2x4 to pound that sucker on there, but it's on. And I don't think it's coming off.
All right. Well, good. Well, hopefully we'll have some fishing stories. Hopefully I'm gonna get out with you
Yes.
here soon, and
And this will be the
we
first.
can talk about our halibut tournament that we're gonna have and see who catches the biggest fish.
But yeah, I've had my son Tristan on the
We're
boat
gonna
with
get
me a
Tim
couple
out,
times,
here shortly too.
and this time, as long as she don't freak out and I can keep her calm and start having her fun catching fish.
She's got to have
Kay-
a good time.
Kaylee's
She's
going.
got to figure.
She
it
just,
out.
she just doesn't understand that boats have to go fast, and so she kind of gets scared, and I'm gonna have to comfort her. I'm gonna have to probably let her drive the boat. But
She
this,
likes to
There
ride the
you go.
motorcycle.
As
Let
soon-
her drive.
I know. As soon as I get her out fishing, I'm sure she'll be fine. But
Yeah.
this will be the first time I have my daughter with me, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully we got some. It's July. We can catch lingcod. Hopefully we got some lingcod on the boat. And hopefully we got a couple 100 pounds of halibut on
I'm
the boat.
hoping we got some good stories coming up.
And
people.
I'm hoping you finally get your new poles wet.
Hey, my poles are getting ready to get wet.
Not just the rain wet.
Hey, my poles are getting ready to get wet, one way or another. Because
With-
I got two options. Two options.
Yes, you do. With that being said, Tim, you got anything else?
Nothing.
Eric, you got anything else?
Love you guys. Keep on listening. Hope you guys are enjoying. And like I said, send in suggestions, questions, anything you got. Let us know. Let us know what you want to know about.
And share our podcast. Like and share them.
And that.
Because we know that everybody out on social media, we don't all just have the same mutual friends. You got friends that we aren't mutually friends with. Spread it out there. We want y'all to ask us questions, especially for those of you that have not been up here before.
I do have to say that when we had our live broadcast,
That again?
that Rhonda tagged my mom in Florida,
That's right.
Nice.
and she watched it.
Was she watching it
Nice.
live or did she watch it later?
I think she watched it afterwards,
Yeah.
but I talked to her the next day or 2 days later, and she said, "I really like that." So
Yeah. Okay.
she
Cool.
may
Okay,
she
yes,
may follow
so-
us.
Next week,
Yeah.
right?
Well, we also
Next
had
week,
we also had one of my
we're going
one of my
live?
cousins.
No,
Yeah.
don't say we're going live yet.
Well,
Well,
next
actually,
week
it's probably
is-
going to be 2 weeks from now.
Scott might be going fishing next week, so
That's a Saturday.
don't be broadcasting anything.
We're going fishing on a Saturday, so we'll probably be live on a Friday.
Well, I might be
But-
fishing on Friday. Bastard.
Not only was your mom on there. Yeah, well, if you want to go ocean fishing on a riverboat, but your mom was on, my cousin was on, and then one of my coworkers was on, and I'd like to give a shout out to them guys, Jim Agri, my cousin Wayne, and your mom Carol.
Yep.
Thank you guys for listening or watching at that time. We got a few bugs to work out still on remembering that there is a delay from the time you hear us till the time we get the feedback on the comments. But
And get used to being live.
yeah, and so Eric's not puckered up on the stage looking at the camera. It's a spelling bee.
Stage fright.
Just spell something. Chimney.
Can I get that in a sentence, please?
Eric.
My chimney was all sooted up.
Because you burnt the cottonwood. Chimney.
No, I think
Okay.
it's awesome. Looking forward to the next live
Yeah,
feed.
so we will post.
Out in the first round.
Oh, Simon Cowell. We will post when we're going to be live on our Facebook page. There's our email address, upper_1_podcast@yahoo.com. We got Twitter, we've got YouTube, and we've got Instagram. So please hit us up, like us, share us all over. Get us some more listeners.
Ask questions.
Ask us some questions.
yes, send in questions,
We know-
suggestions.
We know that some of you, I'm not saying all of you because I know my dad's been up here, but there's stuff that you want to ask us about Alaska.
No,
What
we
can
don't
you expect?
live in igloos.
Hey,
And I promise I'll bring my wedge.
igloo will save your life if you got hypothermia.
But
But,
we don't live in them.
Yes, no, we're not year-round igloo.
And Tim's gonna have his wedge next time.
But yes, we
warned
can
us.
give you an idea. We can answer questions on what to expect when you come to Alaska. We can give you ideas on what to do. Bring it on. I'm Scott. That's Tim. And that's Eric. And I ain't drinking up beer yet on a Friday night. We'll see you later. This is the Upper One Podcast. Love y'all.
Peace out.